So hi everybody. So I wanted to talk today. Um, I brought in this little friend. This little guy is a fellow that we made, me and my girls, a while back at my girls' club. It's Professor Fala C. Argument. And inside of little Fala, Professor Fala, is this little book that we made. And it's all about fallacies, Professor Fallacy Argument. So, this is one of our lessons where we talked about fallacies and the different kinds of fallacies that there are that we come up against. Hang on a sec. Um, so, anyway, so I'm just recording from home in my room. I don't know how to do all the fancy recording. So, I'm just recording this for those of you who may be interested, particularly probably my daughters and anybody else who wants to talk about this. Today, I wanted to talk about watching out. So basically, I'm trying to teach on what we would call probably logic, or how to take apart an argument, how to know what's true, how to find the truth. As Christians, like I said last time, we know that the ultimate truth is the Lord, but we need to be able to discern truth from lies. We need to find facts and not be fooled by the world's ways. I think one of the most important reasons that we need to do this is um, a lot of people that we run into, what they believe they're dealing with is emotions, and it tends to affect us. We can get angry easier at people if we don't have a good handle on the truth. We can get afraid. It stirs up a lot of our emotions when we're arguing with people, whether it be at home with your spouse or your kids, or whether it be out in public. And I see this a lot again on the internet right now, a lot of anger. And I see a lot of Christians who are speaking in ways that I don't think Christians should be speaking when they're trying to touch other people's lives. A lot of pride, a lot of I know stuff that you don't know. And so, with that in mind, I really wanted to talk about special knowledge, which really isn't a fallacy, but it's something that I'm seeing uh, just hugely everywhere right now. Um, and what I'm really talking about is has been going on for many years down through human history. Um, what we might have called it before would be esoteric knowledge, and or in biblical terms, you might call it special revelation. This is when somebody tells you, I know the truth, you don't, and they give you their whole spiel, and you don't know what to do with it because they supposedly know the truth and you don't. And how do you handle that? And this comes at you in various different forms, which I think I'll talk about. But esoteric knowledge has been around, well, pretty well since the Garden of Eden. Um, when when Eve didn't want to eat the fruit, and Satan said to her, "But if you eat of it, you're going to know something. You're going to know something that God wouldn't tell you. You're going to have the secret knowledge," right? So it started way back when, and we want to know that we are the ones that know the truth. Secret knowledge always elevates you. It doesn't bring worship for the Lord, it brings worship of you. And as humans, we like to be worshiped. We like to be at the top. And so secret knowledge can put us there. Okay. So, so way back when that started, of course, like I said, in the Garden of Eden, and then you move on and you look through, of course, through history from then on, from the Sumerians, the early, I think they were in the 3000s before Christ, and all the way up into when Israel started with Moses and Joshua. When they went into the land in Canaan, you would have seen uh, let's see, the Baal worshippers and the people that set up the Ashtaroths, and they had priests who had special knowledge, of course, that they and they alone could access. You see that when Moses talked to the Pharaoh, and he had his people there. You see it with Daniel, where uh, the Pharaoh had dreams, and he called in um, the um, the wise men to tell his dreams. Of course, Daniel did find some secret knowledge, That was different, though. That was given directly from God. And there is a difference between knowledge that's revealed by God and secret knowledge that we get on our own. Knowledge that's revealed by God will always elevate God. It will always raise him up in people's eyes, give him glory. Knowledge that we gain, secret knowledge for ourselves, you're going to see people praising themselves. Well, I knew this, you didn't know that. So you got to watch out for that. But you are going to see when someone claims secret knowledge, you're always going to see behind it. And if you have a problem doing that, which we all may, you're going to hear yourself talk. You're going to hear yourself saying, they really think I'm smart. I knew better than they did, this type of thing. And I think we all can struggle with that. But if you're dealing with someone who talks about secret knowledge, they're going to say, well, you didn't know this because you're not part of my group, or the Lord didn't tell you, he told me, things like that. Now, some of the things that I have seen this in is people who want to tell you the date and time of the rapture. I know some people that are constantly on the internet looking for the date and time of the rapture. And they'll tell me about these people that they listen to, that, oh, they got this right and they had that right and they believe this and they believe that because they read this and they saw that. And they're very proud of this secret knowledge that they have of when the rapture is going to come. Now, I can tell you right now that they're wrong, what they're doing. Um, there are no longer prophets today, and that's a subject for another day, biblically speaking, but it is a doctrine that is highly defensible, which I could discuss in another thing, but that prophecy, as far as direct revelation from God, is no longer in place. It will be during the tribulation time. It is not at this time. So when you have people who say to you, the Lord told me this, the Lord told me that, I would highly recommend that you ignore them. And in particular, if they say, the Lord told me this and the Lord told me that, and then what they say doesn't come true, then you really need to wise up and say, you know what, this is ridiculous. Let's look at the fact about the rapture. The Lord himself said, no man knows the day or the hour, not the angels in heaven, and not even the Son of Man when he was on the earth. Now, if Jesus himself couldn't, what makes us think we can? I've read a lot of arguments where people will argue that, but really, we need to stop trying to gain a secret knowledge that God has told us that he doesn't even want to give us. So that would be one area where secret knowledge is a problem today. Um, but yeah, getting back to esoteric knowledge or secret knowledge, that was used, of course, in the cults, and it's still used today in the occult, in Wiccan, and these types of things. But it was also one of the earliest problems for the early church, which was called Gnosticism, and that was based on a secret knowledge that only they could have. You'll see secret knowledge being the very basis for many religions. Some of them, let's see, I listed them here. So Mormonism, if you know the story of how Mormonism began, Buddhism, Islam, Christian Scientists, Scientology, any of these where you have one leader and they were given the truth by some mysterious mystic or some books or something. Um, this is where you see secret knowledge or mysticism or esoteric knowledge that they and they alone have. Again, you can see that this can tend to give people a sense of pride. Now, how is this different from a Christian when we say that we have the ultimate knowledge? Well, I'm not going to go into it right now, but one of the main reasons is that biblical Christianity is based on the Bible, and it is unique. It is unique because the revelation that was given there was given over a period of like 3,000 years, with on 3 different continents, 3 different languages, 40 or so different people, all walks of life, and the revelation that was given all fits in one. And I think I'll have to deal with that another time. But it is not just one person who was given this secret knowledge that then they've shared with the world. That always leads to pride. It always leads to worship of the person rather than worship of the Lord. So you want to watch But how does that work today when we're looking at the things on the internet? Well, one of the reasons I wanted to do this was I see a lot of conspiracy theories. If they're not conspiracy theories, they are close to it, all over from a lot of different people. Now, what these conspiracy theories tend to do is they'll get facts and they'll put them together in a picture. And these are facts that they and they alone found, or someone else found, or the fact is out there and everybody knows about it, but they and they alone have figured out how to put it together. And I kind of compare this to someone making a puzzle with puzzle pieces that don't fit in the puzzle. So when they don't fit, they cut around them and they take a hammer and they smash them in. And so they're kind of made a puzzle, but it's not fair. It's not true. Um, I read one just today that someone had posted about Bill Gates now, and injections and things like that. Now, Bill Gates, there are some real legitimate issues that I've looked at with this man. Um, Dangerous things, I think. Um, but on the other hand, when you read these, and I've read several of the different ones by different people, all trying to put the picture together the way that they want, each one a little different. There's no footnotes to any of the facts that they put out there. They just put the facts in, they put them in a certain way so that by the time you're finished reading it, you believe that Bill Gates is practically the Antichrist, or he's out there to, take over the world, take over all our rights, things like this. Now, there is usually truth in these conspiracies. Um, there are usually facts that are used, but they are used in a false manner. So, unless you have factual proof or you can prove exactly what these people, if they don't bring the proof to the table, best to turn away from it. One thing that you can do is go to Snopes. Snopes will sometimes, it's a site that will sometimes look at some of these things and tear them apart for you. But short of that, you need to go and look yourself. But I would start right off the bat. Anytime somebody tells you, I have it together, I have it figured out, be suspect, be very, very suspect. And there's a lot of that going around. So if people can't bring to you facts and let you learn how to interpret them yourself, you're in trouble. Um, okay, so the other thing I wanted to talk about, um, esoteric knowledge or secret knowledge. Um, in the Christian world, a lot of people use this idea of secret knowledge, um, but they use it like what I would call special revelation, um, meaning that God specially revealed something to them. You're going to hear a lot of people who do this saying, well, the Lord told me I had a dream. Um, you're going to have people say things like, well, you guys saw this the other day, you guys are a bunch of sheep, because I figured it all out. Um, at the back of all of this, there's a couple things working. Number one, there's pride. And number two, when we claim special revelation, we shut down the other people. If I say to you, the Lord told me that this and this and this is the truth, what are you going to say to me? How are you going to challenge me? You're not going to be able to say, well, Tammy, the Lord didn't tell you, because then I'm going to say, how dare you say that the Lord didn't speak to me? But the reality is, special revelation ended with the book of Revelation. Um, Now, yes, does the Lord speak to us? Yes, he does. But when he speaks to us not to give us proof so that we can go out and browbeat other people and tell them that we are the ones who know the truth. He gives us the truth so that we can then share and care and help other people to learn about him. It's never, never going to elevate us. And the other problem with special revelation, and I've seen this a lot when people down through my life have said, the Lord told me this, and then it doesn't happen. That is a real shame for Christians. So I like to be very careful. There are certain areas in my life where I have a lot of knowledge that somehow I feel like the Lord has trained and taught into me or whatever. But I'm very, very careful to go out there and say, the Lord has told me this. I have certain beliefs that might be different than some of the mainline Christian beliefs as I've studied the scripture, but I will always look at those first because it's good to look at the beliefs that are strongly doctrinal and that have been strongly doctrinal in the church down through the years. And if you're going to go against those, you better do it carefully. Um, so when you feel that you've been shown something from the Lord, you should be very reticent to speak and say, "Thus says the Lord told me this, the Lord showed me this." It's probably a lot wiser to ask questions of people than it is to start dictating what God has told you. And if you get it wrong once, you're a false prophet. So that's what the Bible teaches. So you don't want to be doing that. Other than that, today I think I know there was one other thing I was going to talk about was there's a difference between saying, "Thus says the Lord," or "I know the truth," and a true discovery. Are there such things as true discovery? Yes, there are. There are people who have truly discovered things like Galileo or Einstein or people like that. But just so you know, in the majority of the world, when people have discovered something very true, a particular discovery, almost always they are shamed for that discovery. They're not elevated. You almost always are going to see that. And so it's very rare that you are going to be the one person that has figured everything out while everybody else hasn't, or that your friends have figured everything out that the rest of the world hasn't. If you truly make a true discovery, like I read about this poor guy, what was his name? Ignaz Semmelweis. He's a Hungarian physician in the 1850s. He discovered washing your hands stops germs from transmitting. Nobody believed him. Nobody believed him. He saved a lot of lives. Nobody believed him. He ended up dying in obscurity at a very young age, having been shamed by everybody. So the path of true discovery and true knowledge usually is a hard one, very difficult one. That's usually the road that the Lord takes us as Christians if He's going to reveal a lot of truth to us. It's not usually the easy way, right? So, again, so all I wanted to talk about today was just to encourage everybody to be very, very careful when you're reading the internet, that you do not just assume when someone says, "I have the truth, I know the truth, my group knows the truth, my group figured this out." It's probably a good time to turn away from that and ignore everything that they have to say, basically, or else go out and research the facts yourself. And we'll study more fallacies in the future.